Okay, so if you would like to test your chat window now, you can choose to send to all participants, maybe your name and your location. All right, so that'll give everybody a chance that wants to send it out to all participants, and it'll also give you an opportunity to read over there in your chat panel. So thank you so much. All right. So if you're a reminder, if you're not sending to all participants, not everyone will see it. The panelists, the host, they won't see it. Okay, chatting to all participants. Welcome. We are in the fourth of the series of IB webinars. That's me. I'm Ruth. I'm the behind the scenes sort of facilitator. Got a little too much music going on here with reminders, yes.
TI is doing. All right. So thank you for a couple people for sharing some comments there. And honestly, Emery, for that's the first time I've heard that. So I'm glad you said that, because looking at the curriculum, I actually do see some things that are a little bit easier. So I'm going to share my screen now. So hopefully everybody can kind of see that. So I'm going to keep the chat up. All right. So my screen, this lovely document that I have been sharing for the first 3 webinars, and I promise for those people who have returned, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. But what this shows, it's a kind of cool. Yeah. What this document shows is a color coding of the old material compared to the new material. So just a kind of quick overview of it. Along the top here, you'll see that there are 5 different colors. All right. This kind of peachy looking color, that is any new content that has been added to the courses. The green coloring is any material that is in the old math studies curriculum. Where is it placed now? The purple color here in the middle is anything that was in the old Math SL curriculum. And yes, all of this will be emailed to you. Thank you for asking. The blue color here is anything that has been in the old Mathematics HL curriculum. And then the yellow is the options, okay, the old option material. So what you should notice is that the first 2 columns that you see here are the new Applications and Interpretations course. The second 2 columns are the Analysis and Approaches. And for those people who are unaware, what IB has tried to do is make the SL courses, and actually they have done this, they haven't tried to do it, but they have done it. The SL course is now a complete subset of the HL courses. So all the material taught in Mathematics, Applications, and Interpretations SL is now a part of the HL course also. So all that overlaps, all right, and hopefully that's common knowledge by now. So what you see now is I have down here at the bottom of the screen is 3.1. So we're in the Geometry and Trigonometry courses, topics, excuse me. And since this is green, if we remember our color coding, anything in green was in the old mathematics studies. So the topics that you see here, you know, all this green is still covered from the studies class. But what you should always also see is that 2 columns over, in the Analysis and Approaches SL course, it's the same. Got the same green material. And that's something else that IB had done with this course, with these courses, is there are going to be topics that are covered that are the same covered in all 4 classes. So anywhere you see these little asterisks on this sheet, that's part of what's called the core. So 60 hours of your course material is going to be part of the core. And the core stands for, all the topics that are covered in the new courses. So everybody has 60 hours of that. So you have, and these are just some things that you can look at real quick, the distance between 2 points, volume and surface area, sine and cosine rules, which we'll take a look at some activities for that, and then applications of non-right triangle trig. And that's where the core stops for topic 3. Then everything you see after that in 3.4 and so on, that's course specific. So here's some new stuff. So I have some peachy looking stuff here in the Applications and Interpretations course. So that means now, which used to be Math Studies, they're going to have to know the circle, length of an arc, and area of a sector. All right? And equations of perpendicular bisectors. So again, new material for that course, which we're trying to equate to Math Studies as best as we can, but it is going to look a little different. And if I just scroll down, 3.6, this is the big one. Whenever I present this material, either in person or over a webinar, this is the one that kind of gets the most looks of, it's really different. It's something that I have really never covered in my math classes before. And if you have, more power to you. Maybe you can help us all out. But the Voronoi diagrams are a big inclusion into the Applications and Interpretations course. So that's brand new. So just kind of scanning through this, you'll see I have a little bit of yellow down here for the higher level course. So remember, yellow meant topics that were covered in the higher level options, which are now kind of put into these new courses. And what IB is pretty much saying is that the Analysis and Approaches course is going to be most related to mathematics higher level with a calculus option. And the Applications and Interpretations higher level course will kind of be the other options kind of incorporated into that. So you'll notice we have graph theory, we have some matrix work, tree and cycle algorithm. So where we had that information in those other options of discrete math, probability and statistics, that's now coming into the Applications and Interpretations class. So what this diagram, or what this chart should show you, is that, all right, the new stuff that's included, the stuff that overlaps from the past, okay, and honestly the stuff that has been taken out. One other thing I'd like to show you. So you'll get this document. You can peruse it. When I did my face-to-face talk with people, we spent a good 20 to 30 minutes just looking this over, and then another 20 minutes discussing it, because it was the teachers in South Carolina, their first look at, oh my gosh, here are the changes. So it was a very powerful document, and we're going to make it available for you if you don't already have it. I saw a question up here about will they be able to use the perpendicular function on the TI-Nspire when it is in press the test mode. I'm not sure with the new CX2s if that is something you can turn on and off individually, because I don't know if it's something that you have to turn the whole thing off with respect to the geometry functions, or if you can pick and choose. I have to look at that, so I don't know that off the top of my head for that question. So if I scroll to the bottom of this document, which is going slow, so I'll go a little bit faster here. Down at the bottom, you'll see some additions and subtractions. They kind of gave you the general overview of what has been added, and what has been taken away. So I just wanted to point that out for people who, when you get this document, you kind of understand where you're looking for things. All right, so definitely they took out a few things with respect to the IB math courses with number sets, currency conversion, logic, unfortunately, and vectors and volumes of revolution, but then they definitely added a lot, okay? So in comparison to what they took out, they have definitely added a lot. So the two biggest things that I will miss with respect to what has been taken out is the logic. I really love teaching logic. And then vectors. Vectors was always a nice real-world application unit that I taught, and so I'm definitely going to miss that. So we'll make this available for you if you don't have it already. So please feel free to use it and pass it around to your fellow teachers because we want everybody to be prepared for what we're going to be doing now. All right. So now I'd like to turn my attention to what TI is actually doing. Like I said, earlier in the year, I met with TI, and they asked me, they said, since, you know, I'm pretty passionate about IB math classes, and I'm also pretty passionate about TI, having been an instructor for this is now my 5th year being an instructor for them. They sat me down and just kind of asked, you know, what can we do, you know, to kind of bring those two worlds together? Because recently, if you haven't been aware of this, with respect to AP classes, TI has on their website some AP resources where they took the previous year's free response questions and kind of worked out the problem, showed people how they were done, showed them how they were scored, and then they showed on top of that how you can use your calculator, either the 84 or the Nspire, to enhance things. So I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Can we maybe do something similar with respect to IB? So we're starting with baby steps with respect to IB. And what we're doing here, and I'll just taking you to the TI education, so education.ti.com website. So what we're going to do is look under the either resources or we can go under activities, either one. So you notice under activities we have IB resources there, and resources we have IB resources. Okay, so those are the two spots that you can get to them. And if I click on that, anytime you're ready. Sorry, my internet is a little bit slow here. So you're going to come up with this page, and what you will notice is that we have activities that are available for you. And then below that, we have our webinars that I had mentioned earlier. So our live webinars here on the left, and you can register for any of them that you want. Please do. We're going to have 3 more for IB this year, just to kind of build up the changes, and then we're going to kind of continue doing them next year as we really get into the examination year for the first timers. So all the live webinars could be registered for free here, and then anything that we've already done, okay, can be accessed through our on-demand webinars. I'm going to click on that real quick just to kind of show you something, because this is something, yes, we're doing in, you know, America, okay, but we've had TI instructors all over the world who have been doing webinars already, who have been doing webinars with respect to IB already. So in addition to the new ones, if you'll notice right down here is our topic 2 functions. So if you want to click on view details, and I just lost it, and it just went up. Click on view details. You can then kind of go and look at that webinar. So we've done these 3 right here. So we have the topic 2, topic 1, and then the changes. All right. So, but what you should notice is that there's a ton already that are kind of already here with respect to IB. And these are our wonderful teachers from around the world who have been already putting these together. So just thought if you'd be interested in listening to them, again, since the maths are still going to be overlapping, this is another good good resource for you to look at. And we have these drop-down menus. You can select by technology, by topic, and subject area. Okay? So that is available for you with respect to our webinars. All right. So now if I go back up, and I'm going to talk about the activities and how we put these together. So we had people from basically around the world scanning through the hundreds and hundreds of activities that we currently have on the TI website. And we started to pick, okay, what can we put up on this website that is IB focused or most related to IB courses that teachers can use right away. So I was sent we had a list of hundreds, then it was narrowed down to a list of about 50, and then I started picking from there what we wanted to put up initially. So what you will see are activities that were already currently available, but have the kind of IB focus that we're looking for. So that was our first step, is we already have activities. Can we use them just to kind of be the bridge to what we're going to do next? And when I say what we're going to do next, what we're going to be doing, which I'm very excited because I'm in the beginning stages of it and I'm starting to do it right now, is we're starting to write IB-specific activities to put on the website. So when you click on your activities for this page, you will see activities that have always been available to you, but we just put them in a more localized place. So our next step is to start adding IB-specific, newly written activities that have IB in its focus. But we still wanted to give you something to start things out. So you'll notice that there are two groups here: analysis and approaches, applications and interpretation. So if I just go on the first one, analysis and approaches, and browse the activities there, what we see is a list of all the activities that we put on here. Okay, so there's a good group because there are 5 topics. My initial group was 5 activities per topic. So you're going to see, 25 activities. And again, we're just going to be adding more and more as the year goes on. And we're using this first year as a transition year because a lot of people, and I saw a few people make comments that, you're kind of focused finishing up on the last stuff before we kind of work over to the new. So we're just trying to get some stuff built up on this website so that when you really start focusing on the topics next year, then, they're going to be available for you. But they're still here now if you want to take a look at them. So there are 2 drop-down menus. There are curriculum topics. So we have our 5 topics, and if I click on our topic, you'll notice that we have a total of, and I can count real quick, 8 activities. Now, what you should notice is that it is more Nspire heavy than 84 heavy. So the second thing that I have been tasked to do is to balance that out a little bit more. Me personally, I am an Nspire user, and that is just, I'm very comfortable with that. I have been for the last, 6-7 years, and that's where my focus is. But I still want the people who are fans of the 84, old or new, that they still have options, that they don't have to go out and buy a class set of Nspires to use these activities. So you will see more of a balance in the coming months between the 84 and the Nspire activities here. So I just thought, and you have another drop-down menu before I get into the activity of either the Nspire or the 84 or 83 family. So I'm just going to leave them all up here right now. And I thought, let's just jump right in, okay, to doing an activity. And I'm going to call on Ruth. I was going to do an 84 activity first, Ruth. Do you want to step in real quick or not?
That works for me.
Okay. So, and this is how easy it is to get to your activities. So I'm just going to pick this first one right here, which is find that sign. So if I click on that, what you will see is kind of a brief screenshot of what comes with this activity. And down at the bottom, you'll see you got all the files in a zip. And then you have PDF versions, you have Word versions, and then you have anything either 84 or Nspire specific document that you need to download, so that you need to open up with your calculator. So basically, that's what we have with the icons down here at the bottom. So if I just kind of click on student activity, okay, and kind of open that up, I just opened up the PDF. Okay, this is what we get. So this is the student activity that leads the student through. And we're going to go through this because I thought it would be a good idea to actually, jump into a couple activities tonight, just kind of to see what they're all about. All right. So, Ruth, I'm going to pass it over to you real quick. If you want to share your 84 knowledge with everybody.
All right. So we're now viewing my desktop, and I have launched the software called TI-Connect CE, and that is for the 84 plus family of calculators. And from the education.ti.com homepage, if I'm interested in that software, I go to Products, Computer Software. It's free software, it's communication, so you can send files to your calculators, get files from your calculators, get screenshots. So here we see TI Connect CE. It's the latest version. It's for the whole 84 plus family. So when you click on that, it sends you to where you can download it for Mac or for PC, and gives you some screenshots and a little bit of information about how you can use it. Again, it's for the whole 84 family. So I previously downloaded the files that Daniel was showing us under Activities, IB Resources. I went ahead and had a look at just how it worked for me to download the zip file. So for Find That Sign, I went here and I downloaded the zip file. As Daniel mentioned, the file that needs to be sent to the calculator is listed over here on the right. So I downloaded that zip file. I did unzip that or extract the files before I'm going to try to send it to my calculator. So this is the 84 Connect TI Connect CE. If you've been using it for a while and haven't updated to the very latest, you'll want to do that because it is really, really fast. Right now I have one calculator connected. Let me see, connect another one. You're limited only by how many USB ports you can do it. In the classroom setting, I have a USB hub with 10 USB slots that has alternate power, doesn't draw the power from my computer, so I can send files to 10 calculators all at once. Or I can get screenshots from each calculator. This is the screenshot. That's not where you want to be. You want to be on the Calculator Explorer. So think of your calculator as a flash drive or something. You click on it and you've opened what's on the flash drive. So then, if I want to send files to my calculators, let's see. Here's where I have the files. So I was there. Here we had the zip file, and I extracted the zip file. And so I'm finding the 84 file. Drag, drop it over there. So I'm just putting it on, laying it on top of the software. You see it popped up where it said copy. So then I have the option, what calculators do I want to send it to? I usually send it to all the connected calculators. If I had a previous version of the file and I want it updated, it shows me the file name, what it's going to be on the calculator. If I want it to go into RAM or archive memory, you get to choose that. If I want to use it right away, I'll send it to RAM. And I just send. And it was that fast. The calculators got it. Boom. that's how it was. If we looked at the contents of this calculator, there it is. It's showing that. So you can send more than one file at a time, but that's how it is. TI Connect CE, and it's that simple. So I'm going to send it back to you, Daniel, unless there are questions about TI Connect CE that I need to address.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. All right, so just kind of now looking at this little document. So I have, where did that go? Oh, there, can't see it. Sorry. I'm just gonna look at it again. All right, so basically looking at this document here for this activity, again, it leads the students through. So once it's downloaded on their calculators, it's going to lead them through steps to run the program for this. So I'm just going to follow along with the steps. I had printed it out. So I'm going to switch over to my calculator and kind of go through these steps that I already have printed out. And then just talk a little bit about why was this chosen as something that could be related to an IB class or activity that would be beneficial. Because basically what it is, it's you are given a set of data and you are going to model a sine function over that data. And then hopefully it leads to some discussion about what you can do with this information. And then it asks the kids to do one on their own. So you do one together, the kids do one on their own, and then they get to answer some questions over here. So I have my data already set up, so I'm going to run my program. Okay, and so that's done. So what this tells me is that data has been placed inside of my lists. All right, so when I go to my list, here are the list of data that has, because I ran the program, all this data is in there. So it's funny because I am such an Nspire user. I had a lot of fun today kind of going back and revisiting, you know, okay, what do I do with my data in my list? How do I plot it on my graph? Because things are really different with the two calculators. So I actually had, you know, a little bit of fun, you know, kind of going back and revisiting, you know, what the 84 was capable of. So I want to graph columns 1 and 2. Okay, that's the data that I'm looking to graph. So how do I do that? Well, when I go to my y equals, I need to go turn, you know, one of the plots on. So I'm going to turn on plot 1 by doing a little second number 1, and then I'm going to click on plot 1. So right now it's off. So if I hit enter, I'm going to turn it on. And my X list is L1, my Y list is L2. Good, it's in blue. My mark's fine. You know, you can use any mark you want. And it is a scatter plot, which is good. So now if I hit graph, okay, I don't see it, okay? And the first thing that, you know, students do is, you know, they go a little bit crazy. And so basically, you know, we kind of put their minds at ease, and we just do a little zoom trig, okay? So I'm just going to, actually I could scroll up, do a little easier. No, it wasn't a little easier. So a little zoom, actually not zoom trig, sorry. We're going to do a little zoom stats because these are statistics that we just plotted. All right, so we do a little zoom stats. And this is the data that was given to us. So the question is, you know, how do we approach it next? Because the file that's connected to the activity tells them to do one thing, okay? And what I love about all the activities that are available to you on the TI website is that, yes, we have a PDF version, but we also have a Word version. So you have the ability as a teacher to manipulate and change. Maybe you don't want to give them the steps right away. Maybe you want them to explore a little bit. Because when I looked at this, it went from this to now finding a curve of regression, a sine curve of regression. And I honestly, as a teacher with my students, I would want them to maybe try to figure out on their own, you know, what would be the equation of the sine curve. Because we're at a level now where, you know, if you're at the, you know, we teach trig curves, as early, so a little bit, maybe a little taste in some geometry classes, but usually that's a pre-calculus topic. Some schools, some states do kind of an Algebra 2 with trigonometry type of class, so they might see it there first. So I think they're at a level where they can start modeling without using the technology first, because as long as they know the scale of these graphs, they can probably put a good estimate about, what's the altitude or amplitude of this graph, or what is the period of this graph. So I would actually change this document ever so slightly and kind of put them at a pause and let them figure out some equations before they jump into the sign regression, that they do. And again, that's the beauty of the Word document, is because TI just says, here, use it, what's best for you. Now, they're always there for you to use, but, you can manipulate it however you want. So how do we, once the kids have, in my class, would have explored, what type of curve would go through that, and maybe I might tell them sine or not, but then they can start playing around with, the A term, the B, the C, the parameters that make up this curve before we jump into, okay, so we want to basically draw a curve through this. So if I'm going to go to my home screen, all right, how do I get that sign regression to show up? All right, so where do I go from here? All right, so I'm going to go to what? Okay, so I'm going to go to my stats and then calc. And then here are my regressions that I can look through. And then, oops, hit the wrong button. Here are my regressions. So I'm going to scroll down to where it says sign regression, down at letter C. All right, now the new updated 84s, have been a lot more user-friendly with respect to filling in this information. So I remember the days when you had to kind of type this stuff in on your own, but now you are prompted, okay? So you don't have to really put, the thought is not about what you should fill in or how you should fill it in. It's just what goes where. So we definitely want list 1 as our X, list 2 as our Y. I don't have to fill in my period, but I want to store this equation into my y equals so that it graphs on my curve. So where do I go? This is what I ask my students. Where would I go to put in, the y variable, the y1 or y2? And then we get to the discussion. It's under vars, and go over to y vars and under function. And so there's y1. So we'll just put that, make sure it's stored in y1, and then we will calculate it. All right, so we got the curve of best fit. Now students can compare about, how does their curve that maybe they generated, how does it compare to what the calculator came up with? And then if I look to my y equals, all right, there it's already plotted in there. And then if I hit my graph, there's my curve. And it looks pretty good, I think it's a pretty accurate curve of best fits. So the good news there is, the kids get to see it in real time. Okay, this is real data that was collected because it was part of a problem. It was the temperature in Kansas City fluctuates from cold in the winter to hot in the summer. So this is real-time data that was collected. So then if we go on from this, from this activity, we can then get another set of data where the kids are on their own, and they get to kind of do the same steps and then discuss it, okay? Because the whole idea here is to open up discussion. I've been reading a lot of articles recently about, the benefits of this statistical analysis mathematics instead of just the usual kind of, normal algebra, geometry, information that we keep pounding to our students, day after day in those early stages of math. Yes, it's more applied math when you get to the upper stages of math, but, this data analysis type of math is definitely stuff that's going on in the real world. Just collecting data, putting it in spreadsheets and analyzing it, because that's what businesses do. That's what companies do. So this is something that we have to be doing more of in our classes. I know it's very important to build a strong foundation in mathematics, but we're reaching a day of technology and advancement that, honestly, and I say this because I taught it, just this past week, how often will a student complete the square? I would rather have them work on applied material than give them 20 complete the square problems. And so this is kind of our kind of switch, and I think IB is getting on board with that, with this new math and what they're trying to do with things. So what we were trying to accomplish with this example of an activity is just kind of apply it to real world, because we do deal with sine, cosine functions and modeling. So this just kind of gives that real world connection to that for your students, and hopefully they can benefit from that. So that's just one example of an activity. And again, it goes on. There's 2 more parts to it, but we only have about 10 or 12 minutes left. So I wanted to get on to an Nspire activity real quick. So I'm going to go back to the wonderful website here. So again, I forgot. One of my favorite things. I'm sorry, I skipped it. Down at the bottom, okay, something else that TI is working on right now, and I'm proud to say that I've been the one kind of writing these questions, so I'm very excited about it. And I told the last group that I have written another group of questions, another group of 25. So and they should be published soon. So we're up to 50. So I'm very excited about the question bank that's being collected for on the TI website. And what I mean by question bank, it's not, right now we don't have the bank of questions, but we just have IB questions attached to the TI activity. So if you notice down here at the bottom, we have a PDF and a Word doc of an IB question attached to this activity. So I'm going to click on the Word doc just to kind of open this up to show you what we got going on here, because this is something I'm really, really excited on. So what we did is we took the activity that we're, it was find that sign. So I basically looked back at old exams and I said, where do we use this type of information? And basically I modeled a question that is similar to exam questions that you might see. So what is available to you is a nice cosine modeling question that talks about the amplitude, the period, all right, and it gives you a full mark scheme with it, so that you don't have to go searching around. But the good thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is it's a Word document. So maybe you like this question, but you want to change it a little bit, okay? Maybe you only want to ask part A or part A and B. You have the ability to do what you want with it, okay, because it's posted on the TI website. We created it for you as teachers to use how you see fit. And so, like I said, there's 25 of these available to you, and there's 25 more kind of just waiting to be published. So I'm super, super excited about this aspect, that you have a growing test bank to use at your disposal. So hopefully you get a benefit out of it. I actually like writing these questions because it kind of puts my brain to work. So hopefully you'll see the benefit also. So now going back to, I'll jump over to the applications and interpretations. And I want to show you something, because this is kind of where we're at right now. You'll see if I select the geometry and trig, hopefully you notice that, it's all the same activities. Well, what my first goal was is to give a whole bunch of activities related to the core. So these activities kind of go with all 4 math classes. So you can use them for all 4 when you get to the certain topics. So that was my goal at the start. And now the next set of 25 activities that we're going to add will now branch out more into course-specific stuff. But we wanted to give a base with the core just to kind of see where we're going to go from there. So basically, let's see, which one do I want to go over here? I want to go, one of my favorites is the law of sines and cosines. So I'm going to use the Nspire here. I'm going to click on this activity. And what we have, what we got going on, same thing that you saw with the 84. We have the zip files, but then we have them broken down into individual groups. So you have the student and teacher copies, another IB question, okay, which I love, in both the PDF and Word. But then you also have the Nspire activity, just like Ruth showed you how to connect that file to the 84. You also have the ability to add it to, to the Nspire. So basically what we have here, if you are an Nspire user, I'm going to open it up into my Nspire software. So this activity is just showing how the law of sines and cosines kind of work, how they relate in non-right triangle trigonometry. So for those people who are Nspire users, it's a little bit different than the 84 because you can actually have documents. You just don't have a program or a screenshot related to it with the 84. So now we have ability to put in many pages. So the first page was just the title page. Second page gives a little bit of background on, non-right triangles and, how they were used and what's behind it. So now you'll notice we have more information about the law of sines and cosines. All right, and this is just giving the students more than just a problem to do. It also gives them some history so that they can learn about where this was first used, where it came about, how we use it today. So what I liked about this activity is not only did it give the history, but it also kind of connects to what they learned in geometry and how the connection is made between all these SAS, ASA, and so on and so forth. What does that all mean? And do they remember that? And then how does it relate to trigonometry? Because when they learn it in geometry, they're talking about proving things. So proving triangles congruent and whatnot. We use them a little bit differently, but they still have to pay attention to some of these abbreviations because it's kind of important to, for one, which, of course, law you're using, but then, what situation, especially for the SSA, is, how many solutions do we have? How many triangles can be formed? Can a triangle be formed? So it does open some discussion about that. So then it kind of goes through the law of sines and cosines and the ability to kind of be dynamic on this calculator is kind of cool also because you have the ability to kind of grab things and change things and just kind of talk about, have the kids, change things around and what happens with respect to, the heights, see how the height stays in the triangle, goes out of the triangle, and you can discuss that with students, why that is happening. And then after that discussion phase, then you can actually start getting into some calculations. So this actually kind of shows the calculations for them, and then they can start doing the calculations on their own. So this is a pretty in-depth activity that is, I think, very beneficial for students. And then they, of course, finish off with, the actual problems that they're going to be doing. But it's all centered around real-world problems, okay? Not just, here's a triangle, find the missing side. Here's a triangle, find the missing angle. Okay, we're trying to connect it. I gave a test a couple of weeks ago, or the end of about a week and a half ago, and it was as if they had never seen a word problem before. And my goal was to, kind of get them thinking through problems and not just remembering how they did a homework, how they factor or how they use the quadratic formula. That's not what I'm trying. I'm trying to get them to think outside of that proverbial box of just, I've worked on this 20 times for homework, now it's going to be easy on the test. How do we take that knowledge that we've gained from the homework and now apply it to a real world problem. So that's what we got going on here with this is, associating the real world with the law of sines and cosines. So you can honestly spend a good block if you're a block schedule or a couple periods if you're on a traditional schedule kind of going through this. And again, what I love is what's available for us as we go through this. You have the student activity in the PDF or in the Word doc that the kids can follow along. So the same questions that were asked in the slide are asked on this paper. So if you're a paper person, or if you don't have the ability to use the Nspire and you just want to demonstrate and you like the activity, that's kind of cool too. So you can kind of still do this activity even if you can't send it to every single calculator in the room, which definitely helps if you can do that. But, it doesn't always work out that way. So some questions pop up kind of about the new calculator that's available from TI and what it can do and how it can help us. So if I just kind of go back to the main site, the home page here, anytime now. Okay. So we have basically a new calculator that's out. And let's just jump right into that. So we have the new, just left there. So we have the new CX2, the TI-Nspire CX2, both the non-cast and cast calculators. And what is the big feature about these new calculators, and can they still be used on the exams? So what you should notice right here is that it is permitted. It says SAT and AP, okay? This says SAT, AP, IB, all right? You can, all right, in the new CAS calculator, and this is such a great feature for those people teaching both AP and IB, you have the ability to turn off the CAS functions. So I teach both an AP class, a BC Calc class, and I teach an IB class. So in one class, they're not allowed to use the CAS function. In the other class, they are. I have the ability to turn that stuff on and off. So I just got a new set of the CAS calculators to use for all my classes. And anytime I don't want them to use a certain function or ability, I turn it off, which is very cool. The calculators are much more responsive, faster, crisper, and the connectability is pretty cool too. Unfortunately, we are running out of time here, and I would like to give a couple minutes if there are any questions, or I know Ruth has to say another thing here at the end, but I hope you got something out of this tonight. For topic 3, trigonometry and geometry. We definitely spent more on the trig side of things. My goal is to get more geometry activities onto the website soon. But like I said, TI is on board with helping the IB teachers, and hopefully what we put on the website will benefit you and your students. Because that's what it's all about, just trying to make their experience and their knowledge, easier to attain. So I just want to thank everybody for kind of joining us tonight. And if there's anything that you ever need to ask me, if you need any documents, if you would like to, just talk about things with respect to IB or TI, using the calculators or any of the activities, I'm putting up my email address. Please feel free to give me a chat, give me a call, send me a message, whatever you would like. And I'd be more than happy to sit down. And if you have any ideas, because you are talking to someone who is personally working on this stuff, I am the one who is finding the activities and putting them up on the site, writing the activities, writing the problems. So if you have ideas and you would like to share them with me that you think would benefit everybody, I would love to hear it, because that's what we're trying to do, is help everybody as much as we possibly can. So anytime that you would like to, send a message or a question my way, please do. But I've talked a lot now, so I'm going to pass it over to Ruth. I'm going to look at your questions here in the chat and try to answer a few of them as Ruth kind of does her thing. So go ahead, Ruth. Sorry.
All right. In the chat, we're going to be sending out the links to generate a certificate of attendance. If you miss it tonight, it'll also come to you in email. We're going to send out the bit.ly version. We've gotten some feedback. Some people aren't able to access the bit.ly, so we'll send the long version also. Coming out now. In email, you will get a link to, again, this generating a certificate. You will also get a link to the documents for tonight, mostly the slides that we've been sharing with you. And Daniel will include the link to the master document that he started out with. Let me get that other long link in here. What's coming to you now in the chat is the long link to create a certificate for tonight. And again, it'll come to you in email. We always have a drawing, and it's all viewers attending, not just not the pre-registered ones alone, but all viewers attending. And the random drawing, let me look. Random drawing. All right. And the winner of tonight's complimentary registration to the international conference is Nakara Young. If you were not pre-registered, you might want to go ahead and send me your contact information, your email. So congratulations. Everybody can give a shout out. Congratulations on winning that. Our next webinar is going to be on December the 5th. All right. In the chat, we did send out an answer about the press to test geometry features. Let's see. Be sure that really did go out in chat. If you check the box for limit geometry functions. Okay, very good. I kind of tested it in the background while we were going over.
Thank you, Ruth.
Right. And as of now, even with the teacher software, I tried it from the Navigator teacher software and also from the handheld. You don't have an option to which ones do you want to limit.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
All right, so we'll give a couple more minutes to chat and look up and down and see if there's anything we need. Yes, congratulations. All right. I'm going to see if, let's see, is Nakara still in attendance? Did she have to leave? Have to leave early? Trying to view attendees. Anyway, we will make it all work out for everybody in terms of getting that email to you with the links for your certificate and the links for the documents. That's all from me.
Thank you, everybody, for participating. Appreciate it. Please give feedback on how we can improve things, make things better for you. Thank you so much.